So we are going to go ahead and get started. Good morning, everyone. I'm Elena Campbell with the Rochester Regional Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for joining us for our last, well, we think, the last in our series, Rebooting Your Business in Safe Mode. We're so excited once again, of course, to have our presenting partners with us. Brad Lambert with Lambert Law. Give a wave, Brad.
Hello, everybody.
And Matthew Vizana with CCS Presentation Systems. We really appreciate them and their assistance throughout this, their leadership, their willingness to sponsor this so that we could bring this to you, our members, at no cost, which is extremely helpful. I am going to share my screen here really quickly and just make a few announcements before we get started. So the next event that we have coming up is our Foodpreneur Peer Solution Group. If you are a food entrepreneur or in the food industry, we would welcome you to join this peer solution group. We meet the last Wednesday of the month. We've been meeting ever since last March. And we're excited about this next meeting because, as we were just talking about with the PCN group, we are going to meet in person at Fieldstone Winery. For those of you who don't know, Fieldstone Winery is opening up what they're calling a merchant market. And they are going to be featuring locally made food products and items for sale. So we're excited about that. We're also going to use Zoom, so we're giving people both options. So if they're not comfortable coming in person, we're also going to be on Zoom and we can show them via Zoom the space and what Fieldstone Winery is doing there. So we're excited about that. That's tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. We have our last weekly member update conference call on Wednesday at noon. And I say last weekly because we are working on a monthly call going forward. So in July, we're looking at a call later in July, and we're trying to get Dr. Shaner, the superintendent of Rochester Community Schools, also who was our former board chair, to do a call with us to update us on what fall is going to look like for our students in our school district. So going forward, we're hoping to bring you monthly updates on big areas of our community like that and what they're doing going forward. And then, of course, if things change in the fall, if there's another spike and there are some major changes again in the fall, we will jump back in and do weekly calls again. So this weekly call on Wednesday, we're excited to have Sheriff Mike Bouchard join us. And Sheriff Bouchard, as you know, has been our Oakland County Sheriff for a very long time. I actually first met him when he was in the state Senate. He was a state senator back in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s. And he's going to talk about how they have been dealing obviously with COVID, but also how they have what they're working on as far as leadership with regards to equality and justice within the Oakland County Sheriff's Department. And so we're happy to hear from him on Wednesday. We also have coming up on June 25th at 11:30 a.m. another one of our member-to-member webinars, which we're excited about. Joe Delia, who is CEO and president of Keller Williams, and then Chris Hollis, who's director of lead generation, are going to talk about maintaining culture in your business remotely. We've all, I'm sure, experienced what happens to your team when you're all forced to work remotely and you don't actually get to see each other in person. And Maggie and I, we were just talking about this right before we started the call, that, you know, we kind of like a hybrid approach of some working from home because you can sometimes, depending on your home life, right, you can concentrate better at home uninterrupted, but that we missed each other. We missed seeing each other. And so they're going to talk about how to maintain your culture within your business during this time. Friday is our virtual coffee talk, which we have been doing via Zoom using the breakout rooms. It's been really fun. We're getting good at using those breakout rooms. Special thanks to First State Bank for continuing to sponsor our virtual coffee talk. So join us on Friday for our virtual coffee talk. And I think that's all the big announcements that I have. We'll do a couple of more things towards the middle. And it's my pleasure at this point to turn it over to Brad Lambert with Lambert Law. As you know, each week he has been guiding us through the different executive orders that the governor has been issuing, allowing different businesses to start to reopen, following through the, is it 5 phases or 6-phase reopening plan? And Brad has been our expert helping us decipher what, you know, businesses can and can't do and what we need to be doing to keep everyone safe as well. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Brad.
Okay, and I'm just going to keep the screen like this because this week we're doing the open forum. So I do not really have a presentation to offer. I'm happy to show my my pictures and all that again if you like of the it was really odd. It was kind of fortuitous. I actually took a picture of Rochester Road being, you know, bare, nobody in it. It was amazing when the outbreak first happened. But anyway, legally, only a couple things have really happened here. There has not been much in the way of orders from the governor at all. She's been doing a lot of what I would call housekeeping. I'm sure these orders are important to the various entities that are affected, but there hasn't been any general order per se, other than the emergency order, which she still keeps the emergency status on through, I believe it's 12/01 on July 16th. She did declare emergency status. The other legal development, which I'm sure you're all familiar with, is the fact that gyms and fitness centers were ordered open by a federal judge out in the Western District. And right now that order is, as far as I can tell, I just looked like 10 minutes ago, as far as I can tell, or 15, that order is still good. She did petition the same district court judge to stay his order while she was seeking appeal in the Sixth Circuit. What she needs to do if she wants to keep the order on tap is she needs to go up to the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals, which is located in Cincinnati. And one of her options there is, once she has done the petition, which was denied yesterday by the judge in the Western District here in Michigan, one of her options is to go immediately to them and get that petitioned a stay as well, an immediate stay, which that'll be a big tell as to how the court might rule. But right now, gyms and fitness centers are actually ordered to be opened as of today's the 23rd, so as of 2 days from now. They join the list of businesses that are open, leaving very few businesses left that cannot open under the governor's order. It's still the few businesses under paragraph 12 of her order number 110, which includes the bowling alleys, the banquet centers, and a few assorted casinos, not the Indian casino, obviously, that are still ordered to be shut. Although I have heard, and maybe people can confirm this, that some of the casinos have been open. Scuttlebutt-wise, what I'm told from one of our members at our PCN meeting yesterday, and this is just anecdotal, is that they're working with the governor and negotiating, but the governor pushes back on the bowling alleys and says, no, you can only have 3. You have to have 3 lanes. You can have 1 lane, then you have to have 2 empty lanes and another lane. And they're pushing back on that, saying we'd rather wait till we can be fully open than trying to open under those conditions, because it just doesn't work for us. That's anecdotal, so I don't know what's going on directly there, but that's what I heard. Anyway, And really legally, that's pretty much all I have to update on this. I'm anxious to hear what everybody else has to say regarding their experience on it. Our experience has been pretty simple. We do meet with clients. We do have a couple postings out here. We offer face masks, but we really don't have a lot of traffic like we were discussing before the meeting. So we don't have a whole lot of experience other than making sure we're keeping the place clean and have a couple signs allowing people to use our restroom facilities to clean up when they need to. And that's all I have.
Brad, one question. So for the fitness facilities, it's statewide.
Correct. It's
Not
not
by
just the
region or...
regions 6 and 8, right. It is statewide. The judge has ordered that. It was kind of a remarkable opinion. I did read it, and it was interesting because, again, it was the same pattern I've seen before. The judge asked them, they said, look, I have to allow this order to go through unless you give, as long as you give me some reason why it makes sense. And they just didn't do it. The governor's office just didn't do it. They said, we have data, it's dangerous. It was more like, trust us, it's dangerous is the way the judge described it. And the judge said, that's not enough. So right now, the fitness centers are open. And, unfortunately for them, I suppose the governor could try in the next day or two to stay the order with the Sixth Circuit. But so far, I see no evidence of that happening.
So the other venues that aren't allowed open yet are the theaters, music venues. I'm sure everyone saw the article about Imagine Theaters.
Yeah.
I did actually speak with Paul Glantz. They are part of our chamber. He's a wonderful man, has done a tremendous amount here in our community and in all of the communities that they have theaters in. And they will be filing suit.
Yeah, the only reason probably that they're not open is because they didn't file suit, which is unfortunate. Because the judge's ruling was basically, now that you're opening up these other places, you need to show me how in their case, the fitness centers are different from all the other places that you're opening up, and they just didn't do it. They made no case for it. So I would imagine if they sue, they're going to be able to make a very similar case on that grounds, and now they even have a precedent.
Right. Yeah, he was going to do that Juneteenth event as a fundraiser for the United Negro College Fund in Royal Oak.
Yes.
And in Minneapolis. The Minneapolis event is going forward, but the Attorney General served him a letter, I guess. I don't know if it was a letter or what, but served him papers at his home that they would bring criminal charges if they went forth with the event at Imagine Theater in Royal Oak. And they submitted their plan for all the safety protocols and everything that they were doing to keep, everyone safe and follow all of the rules, but they got no response on that, on what they submitted. So they were going forward with the event, and then he got served that he would have criminal charges brought against him.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if she opens it up before the 4th of July. I think that's been everybody's expectation, probably based upon some of these back channel negotiations that are going on. I guess we just got to wait and see it. They're probably suffering the same thing the bowling alleys are describing. They have to determine whether there's going to be enough capacity allowed, because in the case of the bowling alleys, there's only 25% with the every third lane. They're going to have to figure that out, and I'm sure there's a lot of negotiating going on right now to see if they can make it work.
Right. So we wanted to open this up to everybody to share, has your office or place of business reopened? If so, how's it going? If you haven't reopened yet, do you need help with resources? Do you have some challenges that we can help you with, that we could brainstorm together to help you with? So that's what we really wanted to do with the call today. So is there anyone out there who's open, who'd like to talk about, share how it's going or what you're doing? Come on, don't be quiet, people.
You're told them it was open forum.
Well, I can start and share, what we're doing at the chamber office. So you probably saw in the Pulse yesterday that our office is open. We are taking turns staffing the office. So there's one of us there at a time, and then the rest of us are working from home. We have the little green sticker on the floor when you come in where you can stand, and we're asking you not to go past the front desk. We have a sign there that says, please wait here. Someone will, be up to help you. We have the hand sanitizer on the front desk. We have the face masks on the front desk. We have our employee screening form that when we go into the office, that we have to fill out saying we don't have a temperature or any symptoms or any of that sort of thing. We went around the office and we looked at what are the common things that we all touch, like the copy machine, the postage machine. So we've got sanitizer right next to those things so that it's very quick and easy to sanitize it before you use it. Kind of like at the gym, right? Sanitize it after you use it. When you do these practical things, it's amazing how you can protect everyone. So that's kind of how we're operating at the chamber office.
And I think that triggers a thought for me, especially after reading the opinion. I mean, here's an opinion, the one that just came out on the fitness centers and gyms, that struck down the governor, but it also supported the governor in terms of her, what I call her OSHA restrictions, those kind of things that you were just talking about. It appears that those are going to survive to the extent that the governor imposes them, because even this particular judge did not rule against them and said the fitness centers and the gyms would have to follow that part of her orders as opposed to the open and shut orders.
Right.
So a lot of practices are going to be imposed.
Right. I will say I was on a call this morning with the Michigan Association of Chamber Professionals. We have a call every Tuesday morning. It's chamber directors from all over the state of Michigan. And there is a Facebook group that has been started up north that is literally calling out businesses, restaurants, naming names. If they go into a restaurant and their staff is not wearing masks, they've started this whole Facebook page basically to tattle on people, and it's getting very, very rough up there and very divisive, very judgmental. So it's something to think about as you're reopening your business. I haven't seen anything like that here yet, but the chamber up there is trying to deal with it in a positive way. One of the things that you don't know is an individual's ability to wear a mask or not wear a mask. There are certain health issues that would preclude you from wearing a mask that would not be good you to wear a mask. Just a lot of judgment going on. So it's something to be careful about as you reopen and think about, what is the perception that you want out there.
Indeed. Legally too, a group like that, and certainly not so much the group, but the individuals who are making the accusation have to be careful. Because if they don't get it right, then you've got a lawsuit for interference with business relations or even defamation, if they in fact are not accurate in what they're saying. So
right.
It's challenging on both ends.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's just going to be more divisiveness, but that's where I see that heading.
Well, I worked for a disability rights organization for years, and that was always an issue with a lot of people with disabilities. You can have a disability that is not visible to the eye, right? And then there would be a lot of judgment from other people about your actions, or even parking in the, why do you have a handicap sticker, or plate on your car? You just walked fine out of that car to the store. You looked fine to me, right?
Yes. Yes.
So that was something in the disability rights movement that we were constantly trying to educate people about, is there are a lot of hidden disabilities that are not apparent to the naked eye. Don't judge.
Yeah, be careful out there. Exactly. Because there could be some, you know, there's going to be a lot of back and forth on things like that. That's amazing.
So Elena, I'll share what
Yes.
we did in our facility here, if you like.
Yes,
And
that's
I have a
great.
story about my daughter back in East Lansing and the job that she's at. So we'll share that as well too. But so in our facility, we actually share office space with another company. So we really had to talk through and make sure that management of both companies were aligned with what the expectations were for our employees as everybody did the return to work. So we did the QR codes at the entrance to automate the process of the questionnaire and the daily self-check. We of course installed the temperature check tablet, which if you look over my shoulder, we've got one here in my office that we'll set up in another area. But went through the facility and made certain aisles one way, so that feels like we're doing laps here sometimes, but to cut down on the cut throughs and to make sure that maintain distances. There are still a number of people that are working from home if they have the ability to do that for both companies. And then we looked at everybody's workspaces and realigned those to make sure that when people were in, and some of them are on rotating schedules, that we were able to maintain that 6-foot distance. Like yourself, we have hand sanitizer at all of the spots that are high touch. We do have masks and require them for anybody that's in the facility. But we have them up front if we do have a vendor or a visitor that does need to come on premise. For our people out in the field, they also have face shields and gloves, and then we've supplied them with all of the Clorox and sanitizers. We've got an industrial sanitizer dispenser here so that they can very easily refill the bottles to take with them. And then we require, if we do a job, that everything is sanitized and wiped down before we're done. So as we install the stands and tablets or a display, everything gets wiped down and sanitized before we leave the site. Additionally, in the restrooms, we made a change. So they went to touchless faucets, touchless soap dispensers, and then touchless for the hand towels as well, and then changed the access control system from a keypad to a key fob or a card swipe to eliminate all of the touch points, and then also put the foot plates on the doors so you can open the door with your foot rather than actually having to use a handle. So I think we did all of the things to show the employees that for both companies that we were taking it seriously, and obviously expected them to follow all of the procedures just to make sure that everybody's safe. So now on to my daughter. So she had an internship scheduled to do in Aspen, Colorado this summer for her the business program that she's in, and that got canceled. So then she was in scramble mode trying to get something else, because they're still going to require, and the college is not relaxing the requirements for 2 internships before they graduate. So she would actually graduate early if not for having to have an internship this summer. So she got them to acquiesce and give her an internship credit with a particular restaurant that she was going to do, because she could tie it into her management program that she's in. So they, of course, opened a week and a half ago, the restaurant. Well, on Friday, they had an employee test positive for COVID-19. On Sunday, they had a second one test positive, and now they've had a third one. So they are now shut down. And her comments back was they were doing everything. They would have them stay 2 hours after the restaurant closed at night to completely disinfect everything. So the business was taking it very seriously, but they are now shut down because they've had 3 instances of COVID-19. So I know that there's a lot of opinions out there that this is something that isn't still live and active, but they've got it in East Lansing, and my daughter is now in quarantine. One of her roommates was one that was exposed. So she's been tested twice now and doesn't have it, but they're now, of course, all in quarantine because of it. The restaurant shut down again. So I would just implore people to make sure that you take it seriously, and it's still out there.
Thank you for sharing, Matthew. And I think it is so difficult. So like you said, she says the restaurant was doing everything by the book and, you know, doing a lot of sanitizing and things like that. And it's still difficult to figure out how, you know, it's being transmitted or how that's happening too. You know, maybe it was after hours, they were together, you know, somewhere else, or, you know, it's very difficult. And it's good to see here they were doing they were taking all of the right precautions.
Yeah, and that was one of the things I noted in some of the earlier presentations. Infection cases, especially the ones pre-COVID, you know, for medical malpractice, are notoriously difficult for that very reason. It's very difficult to determine just where the infection happened, unless you have the unusual outbreak where, you know, a dozen people out of 24 in a particular facility became ill. Then it's pretty clear where it happened. But other than situations like that, it's tough. It's tough to tell where the infection happened, and that's been a problem in the legal community for medical mal cases. Not to mention the waivers that you sign as well. But even the causation issue is quite challenging.
Right. We need something that we put on our hands and then it lights up when you, I don't know.
Yeah. I know they're trying this contact tracing. I don't know what the success rate on that will be either. It'll be interesting to see.
Right. So come on, somebody else share. I'll call on somebody.
This is Leah from F45 Training, and I'm so
Yay, Leah!
Hey.
Yeah, it's been a long going on 4 months, but I tell you what, thank God, I've actually sold 6 new memberships yesterday, 3 more tonight, and we had like 6 last week. It's like unbelievable. It's awesome. So I'm excited.
That's awesome.
Very, very prepared. I mean, I was super fanatic about cleaning prior. If you look on my reviews, everyone loved how super pristine. You can't even wear your shoes in. That's how picky I am. But I've got these motionless there's sandy stands I can move around. I have 3-foot by 3-foot tile squares, so it's easy to figure out the 6 foot, but I have everybody spread out to 10. F45 has been fantastic. They created 4 different types of workouts for whatever, wherever you're at in the COVID stage. So everyone's super ecstatic and fired up to come back. So I'm pretty blessed right now.
Yay. And are you opening on the 25th?
You got that right.
You're ready.
We're ready. We're ready. Yep.
Oh, good.
Linda, if I may, have you been doing outside activities at all with your facility?
We have, and those are pretty successful, and it attracts, I mean, we've been actually within a week from the shutdown, we actually had an online workouts for our members, and I just got off the ground. I opened my doors on January 4th of this year, and I was shut down. Yeah, I was shut down on March 16th, so it's been quite a challenge, but I think I'm being given a second chance right now, and the members have been so supportive. They've actually been, some of them said, just let my membership keep running, Leah. Some were like, just gave me a number to charge them every month, and we all worked out together via Zoom in our living rooms and basements for 3 months. And I felt bad. I even handed out some equipment to people, even though I'm not supposed to because I'm a franchise. But, we had an 8-week challenge, and a 55-year-old gentleman lost 24 pounds in 8 weeks. he had poor posture. He could see muscle tone, everything. It was just phenomenal. I'm like, I can't let these people go backwards. So I just gave out my equipment, and they were very thankful, and we kept plugging away, and yeah, we're ready to get back in the studio. So, and then I can also take my 27 people class down to 14. I mean, I have a 36 square foot facility there, sitting there, and I installed fans. We're ready to go. The population that comes in there typically is it's pretty healthy. So we're excited. So come on in, everyone. Woohoo!
Nice. And what a nice success story. Gentleman who lost 24 pounds during this time with your help.
Yes. And it's just amazing, the transformation in that short period of time that I was open. I'm like, my gosh, it's just awesome to see.
Right. And that just helps make him healthier so that, you know, if he were exposed to COVID, he's that much better prepared, you know, to fight it off.
Yeah, exactly. And being caught in this horrible quarantine, and everybody's getting kind of depressed, and, you know, when you work out, your endorphins fly, you're boosting your immune system. So everyone should work out. Go walk around the block.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what we did. We did a lot of walking, hour-long walks, found a lot of cool trails.
I apologize for not sharing my screen. I have a towel on my head. I took a shower a while ago. I've been working on the computer, and I'm like, I can't show myself right now. Maybe next time.
That's okay. Well, thank you so much for sharing, and congratulations on being able to open. We're really excited for you guys. I know you've been on a lot of these calls ever since it started.
And thank you, Brad Lambert, for sharing, because, you know, you've been very helpful with all your pointers and tips, and, you know, keeping us abreast on this whole wishy-washiness of our orders that we have going on.
Well, that's much appreciated. It really makes it worth the while to get the thanks, and it's been a great experience for me just to be able to do that. So thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right. Would somebody else like to share? Leah broke the ice. Anybody else open?
Here, I'll share.
Oh, thank you, Jeff.
I'm fresh meat for everybody because I just joined a couple of weeks ago. So I'm really coming here to try and get acquainted with all that you do. We're a startup company, and what we do is interesting and unique. And one of the reasons, honestly, why I wanted to do this is just to get a lay of the land and learn about the community. I'm also obviously pursuing customers and whatnot. But the one thing I'll point out is, like, Matthew, your story is a meaningful story, because I think it gives us all an appreciation, firsthand appreciation for really what we're in the midst of and how human it is. It's not just a number on a chart or something like that, which is helpful. And for you, Brad, it's good to have a resource, somebody close by that you can go to try and weed through all of the massive amounts of literature that are published, and sort of find a thread of truth maybe somewhere out there. And I'm not taking sides in any of this, but it just gets really noisy and whatnot. And the chamber does a good job. F45, I don't know who you are, but thanks for speaking up. Hope your hair turns out well with the towel and thing like that. But the final thing I'll say is just, if you guys have been doing this a long time, I remind you, as I'm new, this is a pretty impressive organization. There's a good collection of people. They're really in the business, whatever it is, but they're in the business of helping people. And everybody's kind of a very helpful, kind soul. So you're appreciated. And over the course of this thing and unwinding and learning our new way to do things, I do want to make a point and find a way to give you exposure to what our company does. And it all comes down to the same thing. We've got things we do to help people. That's really what it was all founded on. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Jeff, what is your business?
Our business is basically, we're a specialized IT company. And a friend of mine and I, we both come out of automotive. We worked for GM and Magna, which are great companies, but you learn a lot about discipline process. We found ourselves a couple of years ago in the e-waste industry. I got dragged into it and I dragged my friend along with me. It was all in an interest to try and do something that was environmentally beneficial and whatnot. But one of the things that we noticed when we were there is there's massive amounts of, like, we're not talking like a couple hundred, we're talking hundreds of millions of pounds of waste that goes through. But that all started years ago when all of these assets were filled with gold and copper and palladium, and that's what the value was. But the thing that's overlooked, because you can't see it and you can't weigh it and you can't really touch it, is information. And there's not as much gold, there's not as much copper anymore, but there's a massive amount of information. So we set up a company and had a lot of interest and have been going along, basically taking assets that we all may have in our offices or in our organizations that we're not using anymore, that we've retired and saving for some other time. What we do is we take those assets and we verifiably clear all the data off of them, because those assets sitting there, if one of them were missing, would you know it's gone? And where it ends up, there could be information. We've seen payroll information, we've seen HR records, we've seen bank records, tax returns, credit applications, all kinds of things that are just sitting idle. So we take all that, we clear all the information so your risks are gone, and then we'll remarket it for you or set it up for donation or repurposing in some way. And at the end of all of that, most of the time our services come with a check. So our service fees are less than the value that we recover when we remarket the assets. So it's really, it's a pretty good ending for everybody, and it's a good beginning for some people, because recently with what we're going through, your homes may be the same as mine. That's why there's no light here. We've got 3 kids here and 3 computers, but everybody's doing Zoom and stealing lights from each other to try and look good and whatnot. But a lot of the computers that we pulled out of various places, we got into the hands of homes with 3 kids and 1 computer. So that's basically a war zone. And you know, you can find really inexpensive ways of getting access to things that kids need to keep doing what they have to do, and that's learn. So that's pretty much in a nutshell what we do.
That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for joining us today.
Oh, thanks for having me. It was a long application process, so.
easiest organization to join ever, right?
No, but it's a pretty, like, that's why I tell you again, I'll reinforce it. You guys have to appreciate what you're doing here, because this is a good community. There's a lot of really helpful people, and doing business isn't, it's not a, it's a capitalist society, but there's a strong social conscience in this community, and I think that's pretty commendable. And we'll get through this.
Jeff, very nice to meet you virtually here. Make sure you reach out to me. I'll send you over my email address, but we have a number of clients that we interact with, probably some opportunities for you. So let's make sure we connect after this for a one-on-one at some point, maybe early next week.
Yeah, very good. Thank you very much, Matthew.
There you go.
And Jeff, I'd extend the same invitation if you ever want to get down and chat and have a one-on-one. Can you post your email in the chat so we could send that? Is that okay?
Yeah, if I know how to do that, I'll do it.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much. The name of the company is Bluebriar too, so if it looks funny, that's what it is. All right.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Chamber networking at its best.
Yeah, it really is good.
All right. Anybody else? I'll call on somebody.
Uh-oh.
Can Karen Beard hear me? Karen? No, she works for AAA, and I thought maybe she would share whether their offices are open, and if they are, how they're handling things. Rebecca?
Hi. Hi, everyone. I'm Rebecca Traus. I own Aspects Counseling. I'm a mental health provider, licensed professional counselor right downtown on Main Street. I have a question. I'm not open yet, but is it time for questions or not yet?
Yes,
Okay.
this is discussion time, whatever you need.
Fantastic. Thank you for everyone's contributions. It's been great listening in. And Brad Lambert, I wonder if you touched on the like a hold harmless or consent for treatment of the malpractice part of it, and that caught my attention because that is, I guess, a fear of some clinicians. A lot of clinicians who are not choosing to open at this time and only provide telehealth for mental health services. There are some consent forms out there that other therapists have showed each other. Do you find that having a consent form acknowledging the risks of in-person sessions, even though all the protocol of the criteria for protection would be met to the best of the clinician's ability, do you find that having a consent form that the client would sign acknowledging the risks of that, or a hold harmless clause are valuable to have for like on solo practice?
Yes, I think they are valuable. And I see no reason why you can't do it. I've advocated against it, and I'm kind of the minority on this. I've advocated against it for employees because of workers' comp. But those same concerns don't apply to your clients or anybody you're treating. And I see nothing but gain with respect to using them, not only because it is a legal protection, but it informs the client to say, look, you're coming in and I just want to make sure everybody's on the same page here. And you understand that this is, I'm taking all the precautions I can, but, we're going to have some contact and there's going to be some risk. Like Matthew said very well, the disease is still with us. It's going to spread, and it's even spiking a little bit because of the openings, which is, I guess, the natural order of things, but it's going to happen. And I think everybody needs to understand it. We're not reopening just because the disease is gone. It's not. It's still with us. And I think it's helpful on both ends, on both the customer service end, and also everybody can understand the legal ramifications of the contact that you will have. And I'm happy to share. I'm happy to send you, if you want to even post your email the same way Jeff did. I'm happy to send you the form I've been promoting. It won't be specific to your practice, but it's the form I've been sending people to handle that particular risk factor. I wish I could tell you it's bulletproof. It's not, but it's certainly going to be useful in the vast majority of cases, particularly when it reflects that there is full disclosure. I think full disclosure is the key element of those forms. If somebody's just signing a one-liner, I release you from all liability for anything that happens, that's probably not going to work. It's the full disclosure aspect, I think, which is helpful.
Yeah, I have so many forms and procedures and policies already. I want to be diligent, not cumbersome upon my clients, but also wise and protective in every way. So thank you for your great answer, and I will certainly post my email and look forward to receiving that from you. Thank you very much.
You have to do it. I laugh because I try to pride myself on keeping my forms short. You get these trusts that are like 70 pages long. I says, you don't need all that. You can do it in 15, 16 pages. You don't need a 70-page trust. So I do keep it short, and I keep these forms short as well, but not too short.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Rebecca. Really good question.
You're very welcome.
I see Tanya joined us, and I know Tanya is open. Tanya, do you want to share with us what you're doing and how it's going?
Oh, okay. So we have opened both businesses, one being Tanya's Victorian Rose. The first evening was our open party, and it was basically a dinner we partnered with Ryan from Fieldstone, and he provided a bottle of wine. And then we had the Corinne Barnett band singing for 2 hours. So it was like a concert. And we had about 22 people. and total. And so we had 2 tables that decided to sit inside, 1 that sat up front outdoors, and then the remainder 4 tables sat on the side where the band was. So it was a little hectic being the only waitress, because my waitress cannot come back yet because her first job is as a surgical technician at U of M. And so she's around people all the time who have COVID or have been she's been in contact with people who've had COVID. So she can't come back yet. So it was interesting. It went fine. It was a little slow service that evening, but everybody was very gracious and thankful to be out. So, and I was very thankful for their patience. So that's where we're at. We opened up indoor dining Wednesday, but we had no customers Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. So, and I've been talking to other restaurants in the area, and they're saying that it's super slow for them as well. So I think it's just taking time for people to see, okay, we're open and our numbers are not going up. Everyone's being safe. So maybe it'll just take that for a few weeks. I'm hoping.
For your opening event, and I know you had all the tables were outside, right? Did you?
I had 2 people. I had 2 tables that decided to stay indoors, and they were obviously in different sections of our restaurant, and that worked out. Yes.
Now, did you require them to wear masks outside and or inside?
I did not require it outside because the people who came and sat at the tables with each other claimed that they could be together at that table. So because they claimed they could be together at that table, we're not going to push too hard. I mean, what am I going to do? Ask for IDs? And, you know, the people indoors, 1 table wore their masks. The other 2 didn't. They refused. And we weren't packed, so I didn't push it, and they didn't have to walk past anybody. If it had been a day where we had more people in, I might have asked them or made them sign something. But because there was like nobody except for like the 2 other people in a way different section in a different section of the restaurant, I didn't push it with them. They were an older couple celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary. I really just didn't want to ruin the moment for them, you know, and I don't know. It's a fine line.
Well, you don't know too, based on their age. Maybe they had a medical condition where they aren't supposed to wear a mask either.
Potentially, yeah. I just used my gut instinct, and had we been packed, I probably would have at least nudged them a little or mentioned it or made them sign something maybe. But I mean, I know I have it in my policy to do that. We're kind of playing it by ear. I am trying to follow my policy, but that was our very first day. I guess it was like a test. Ugh, I don't know. Like I said, had we been packed, it would have been a different situation, I think.
Well, and happily, Tanya, I mean, you're not one of the few businesses where you're actually required to enforce the mask. I know that salons are actually affirmatively required to enforce the mask requirement. Other businesses are not. They certainly can, but they're not required to act as enforcers of it. I believe, and I'm just going off of memory here, I believe gyms and fitness centers are among the few groups that do actually have to enforce or are affirmatively tasked with enforcing, but restaurants are not.
Well, last I had heard, and I haven't been on recently, I think I made it to the first 2, but last I had heard, I thought to walk past people and to go to the bathroom, they had to have masks, but otherwise they didn't have to have them on in the restaurant.
Yes.
Things change.
And again, that's up to the individual customer. That is not something, you don't have to stop them while they're walking to the bathroom and tell them to put their mask on.
Okay.
You certainly can. That's certainly within your realm of responsibility and, well, not responsibility, I shouldn't use that word, but certainly your realm of discretion. But yeah, you can, but you're not actually coerced to do so.
The other thing is I bought face shields for my staff That way, the masks are so hard to breathe in, especially in a kitchen when it's 90 degrees or 100 degrees. But my chef, she actually prefers to wear the mask. So I'm like, okay, so be it. And she doesn't like because it like leaves a band right here on her and then it makes her sweat, like dripping down. So she decided I'd rather just wear the mask. So that's her choice. I'm letting her do whatever, as long as she's got a face covering on, I don't really care. And so far, I don't have a waitress who's come back yet to give me an opinion on that, because my other waitress who was supposed to come back to work, her roommate is a first responder and she tested positive. So for safety's sake, she has not been back and we're waiting for the timing of it. And thankfully she's not been, no one has been, I didn't call a meeting in our restaurant. We've just been communicating through Zoom and through, online messages, but, no one was exposed to anything. So it's all going to be just a learning curve for everyone. For the cooking school, we did start small classes and like siblings are at the same table. And then all the tables are 6 feet apart. And then I bought all of the kids who signed up face shields. So all the kids are wearing face shields and it's very small. It's like 6 kids class. We're keeping them small. The parents are elated. The kids are having fun. And everybody's happy with that one. So we're going to continue doing that on Mondays in the tea room when we're closed. So we are utilizing our space to the best of its capabilities there. So anyway, that's what we're doing.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing, Tanya. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank
I've
you.
been so busy. I haven't really been able to make it to the Zoom meetings because we're also trying to pivot and put some of our classes online. And so who's videoing all those classes? Me. So I have like each chef coming in and making something and I'm videoing them and playing around with it. And it's hours of video and then to have to put it all together. So I'm doing like double duty right now, working 12-hour days. And so I'm sorry I haven't made it to more meetings lately, but it's just, I gotta work, so yeah.
We understand.
Yeah, I know.
All right, thank you. Does anyone else want to share or have any questions? I'm gonna turn it over to Matthew, our other presenting sponsor for this. And Matthew, go ahead and thank you for sharing earlier what you guys have done in your office, what your daughter's story. So we really appreciate that.
Yeah, I really don't have anything to share. I thought today was just really that open forum. We continue to have new innovations from our manufacturers. So I think last week I talked about the digital signage with the sanitation, automatic sanitation dispensers. So those are here in more of the medical environments and office environments that require digital signage. They've now paired those up with the sanitizing gel dispensers as well too. So probably the biggest change is that we want people to use that. We want to direct them certain ways. So video, once again, catches people's attention. Everybody has their blinders on when they come into a business with static signs, and it's very easy for them to ignore that or to miss it. So that's where, in our industry anyway, everybody is responding from the manufacturer side to provide these touchless and digital signage tie-ins to making sure that we have the proper safety equipment to support businesses. So it's been fast and furious from our end to get those pieces launched, and they're challenged from a supply chain standpoint. So maybe hitting a few weeks later than I would have liked them for some of the industries that were spooling up. But again, I personally don't see, even if COVID were to go away tomorrow, I think that we've all had a realization specific to health in all of our businesses, and whether it's a flu or any other virus, I think a lot of these protocols are here to stay going forward. So just take a look at making sure that you have the pieces to make your customers, your clients comfortable to return and to do business with you if you have to welcome them back into your facility. So we've got manufacturers that are continuing to provide these innovations, and we'll push those out through all of the various means. But at any point, if you have any questions regarding technology, and once again, whether we sell it or not, we'll at least point you in the right direction, and happy to help and happy to have been a part of this.
Thank you, Matthew. Thank you. Thank you for your expertise as well in so many different areas, and helping to bring information on new technologies and devices, you know, to the forefront. I think you're right. You know, a lot of these different things are going to become a natural part of our lives. There's a lot of good that can come out of that.
A lot of better mousetraps being made right now.
Yeah, yes, that's right. Better mousetraps. Yeah. Does anybody have any questions? You've got Brad and Matthew right here. Okay, well, I just had a couple of last minute announcements I wanted to make. Don't forget about our Back and Better campaign. Maggie, do you want to say a couple words about that?
So, which it wasn't working. So the chamber has put together what we are calling the Back and Better campaign. The Back and Better campaign is tying the community together. So we are celebrating the businesses in our community that are ready to reopen. This program has no timeline. So if you're ready to reopen this afternoon or in a month from now, it fits everybody's timeline. It also is not just for people that have a brick and mortar business. We encourage people that aren't brick and mortar to participate in this event also, and they can do it at one of our local parks or maybe at one of their favorite establishments. The cost of it is for $40. You get a very nice sign to put in front of your business, along with a nice package from me that will deliver straight to your business, and then we'll take a picture of you holding your favorite sign, and then when you're ready to reopen, we ask that you take the two pieces of ribbon and tie them back together with your staff. So I will put my information in the chat box. If you're interested, please contact me. I know Tanya is one of my biggest supporters. I went and seen her about a week ago, and her signage has been in every Facebook post that I've seen since then, so it's great. The other event that I'd like to promote is we have booked our annual chamber golf outing. Let Elena catch up.
Let me pull it up here.
So our annual chamber golf tournament will be Monday, August the 17th. One good thing about this is, if you know, we usually held our golf outing the first Monday in June, and it was typically very cold. So we're hoping that this golf outing on August 17th will be very warm. It'll be held at Great Oaks Country Club. All the information is listed on the Chamber's website. It's $150 per golfer, and we do have sponsorship available. I just want to remind everyone that this is the only fundraiser that the Chamber does for the Chamber during the year. So we ask that if you're able to participate or contribute, that you do so. So, and again, you can contact me. There's a link on this page to the form that you can fill out. But if you have any questions or concerns, you can always contact me at any time.
And a huge
thank you, Elena.
Awesome. Thank you, Maggie. And a huge thanks to Mosheri for being our presenting
Yes.
sponsor for the golf outing. And I think maybe Brad Lambert now is going to be a sponsor.
He's on. I
Certainly
have
gonna be
my
a whole
list
sponsor.
halfway done.
He volunteered in I think the call last week.
Mhm.
So
Certainly
thank you very
sponsorship package there somewhere. Yes.
Thank you. And then I wanted to point out too, our reopening resources and PPE supplies. I know Tanya had mentioned face shields. So on our COVID-19 tab on our website, we have this tab that talks about PPE resources. So what we wanted to do, of course, is connect you with local businesses that can help you find the PPE resources that you need. So I think there's like 4 on here that do face shields. So if you're looking for face shields, sneeze guards, those types of things, those are all on here. So these are all local businesses, members of the Rochester Regional Chamber of Commerce. And as you know, right now, it's more important than ever that we are supporting our local businesses, many of whom have been struggling. So please, please, please support local as much as you can. So if you need anything, check here first.
And I have been using a local company for my face shields, and she's giving me a discount for like multiples for the kids and everything, and has been personally sizing them. So
that's awesome.
Important to use local.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. All right, are there any other questions? Nothing else anybody needs to know today. All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us for the last one. We appreciate it. Thank you again to Brad and Matthew for being with us over the last 6 or 7 weeks, leading us through all of these changes. Like I said before, if things heat up in the fall, there's a spike and some changes start to happen again, Brad and Matthew will be contacting you.
You're around.
And yes, we will definitely, reinstitute another series if need be. We're here to help. We're here to guide you through these changes and the things that we need to do. And we're fortunate that we have members like Brad and Matthew who are willing to step up to the plate and help everybody out. Jeff, it was awesome to meet you. So glad you jumped on the call today. Appreciate it. Leah, so excited about F45 opening. You sound like you've got it all covered. We're excited for you. And Tanya, we are going to tell people, get going, get over to Tanya's Rose. And they've got a safe establishment there with some amazing food.
Thank you. And hopefully our outdoor seating space will be ready soon.
Yay. That's right.
All right. Front, like the more permanent kind.
Yes, right. All right. Well, with that, we'll say goodbye, everybody. Have a great Tuesday.
Bye.
Bye,
Thanks
everybody.
again.